Morris' movie. I had to... It was almost as if I saw myself from some third-person view. I saw myself telling the others I had to run to get the movie. They just laughed and told me I would have to take the nightline then. I said bye to them, started running, and... I was alone. I stopped running when I didn't see them anymore. I needed to take a break. I was in a shock, full of adrenaline. My hands were shaking, but I was standing firm. I slowly regained my senses. I was there, alone. It was night, and I was going to Yone. It might have been a coincidence that I forgot Morris' movie, but maybe that was a sign. Maybe Yone knew that Morris' movie was still there and she didn't mention it. It was really unrealistic, but maybe I didn't even need it. I realized this was the time. I was there. I knew there was no point in waiting. I could do it tonight. Now! There might be an opportunity in the future, yeah, but that opportunity can be the same as this one, at best. There will not be any time that can be better. I was walking as slow as I could. I was looking around to forget what I was about to do. I didn't know why, but I wanted to wait just a little more, get some breathing space before I do it. But it didn't matter. I wanted to do it, and I couldn't imagine how I could go on if I wouldn't tell her. It was not even pointless for me to be afraid, to fear anything. Yone could only free me, and I was happy I would not be having to carry it all. That I would tell her, because I loved her. And maybe it wasn't just so. Maybe Yone did feel something. Why would she be so nice to me otherwise? And I really felt we understood each other. I felt that we could make each other's lives happy. And I couldn't think of Yone without feeling attracted to her personality, to her body, and to those memories I had with her. I was slowly getting to know her in that year and found out what she likes, what makes her laugh, and what she cares about. And it was always so wonderful to talk with her, to feel she answers, to feel she thinks about what I have said, and receive her views and her feelings back. I was hoping, almost desperately. I had no other point to hold on to. I just had to believe she likes me too. I love her, and she has to feel the same. She has to. Yone. Please. Please! The entrance to Yone's house was open. I went in and hardly realized that had the entrance been closed, I would have to ask Yone to open the door for me through the intercom. How I would react, I had no idea and no time to think about. I didn't even have time to be happy about not having to ring her. I went up, taking the stairs. My body was so weakened that it was almost a miracle I could stand. I kept picturing myself dying on the floors of the building stairways of exhaustion. This automatic power I suddenly had, it was as if it wasn't me. My legs were carrying me up. There. I was standing there, in front of Yone's door. I tried to exhale for a few times, but it didn't help. I was at the verge of collapsing, but I had to do it. It was clear to me that no matter how I feared that what will come, it was nothing compared to the unresolved finality of a regret that would fill me if I just walked away. So this was actually good. But it was. How could I have a bad feeling when I love someone? I wanted to do it. I wanted to let her know, and I would do it with love. There was nothing that could go wrong. There just wasn't. I pressed the bell without thinking. I even heard it through the dead silence of the building at this time of night. I did it. It was surprisingly easy, compared to what I thought it would be. That was also a sign that I was ready to do it, that my body couldn't take any more of the strain it was being put through. This situation, I felt I have used my energy to the very last drop, and when this is all over, I will simply die. The bell was pressed, and I hoped I would say something. At this point, the only thing I could rely on was that, whenever I was about to do something like this, I was always questioning myself, not knowing what to do and what to say. But when the moment came, when Yone was there, all the tension went away. And it was the only thing I could hope for now. I didn't have the energy to think anymore. It will somehow be possible. I will say something. I must. At the very best, I should be able to say I forgot the movie. But did I really need to say that to her? I wouldn't mind, I would leave the movie like it was, If I'd known Ione could feel insulted by this, by the fact that I needed a reason to come to her. Because, did I really need an excuse? If I wanted to tell her, I love her, that it meant so much to me, that I meant it all, the dance, the snowman, and Love's Day. I'm going to tell her anyway, so what? Wouldn't it be better to just forget about it all and to say, I was there because I wanted to come, because I like being with her, because I really like being with Ione, just because of that. It was because of her that I still managed to remain who I was. She didn't know, but she had me in so many ways. But I didn't love her because she had me. From the time I saw her in the summer, I felt it more and more. First, it was only physical, and then I fell in love with Ione the person. Still, it meant so much to me. So much would be decided now. Although I knew that it already may be decided. It's not because I came here tonight. Crap, I skipped one moment. I think I can't return. Okay, so I couldn't really make any mistake now, could I? It was? Suddenly, all my thoughts were killed by the sound of someone approaching the door from the inside. I felt dizzy again. My heart was beating so fast, I could felt it through my skin. Ione opened the door. She was there. So beautiful. And I loved her. It couldn't be anything else than that. I quickly told her that I forgot Mori's movie. I didn't dare to think she looked surprised to see me, so I just let it be. It didn't matter anymore what I thought. Ione was telling me something as she went into the living room. And then, I asked her if she had something to drink because I was very thirsty. Why did I tell her this? I really was thirsty, but then I wanted to be with her as well. Was that it? But I wasn't lying. It was true. I was thirsty. So it was normal to ask for a drink. Ione came back with the movie and gave it to me. Then she went into the kitchen. I didn't know what to do. I noticed the door was still open. Was I supposed to close it? I silently closed the door. Was that a bad thing to do? Was I forcing myself into her apartment? And again I felt very weak. When she brings me something to drink, I will have to tell her. But I wasn't going to go away unless I tell her. Even if I wouldn't be able to say a word, I'd stay here. Ione, she was much older than me. She had a completely different life, and if I didn't do it now, I couldn't ever tell her again. I would love to tell her that I like her, that I feel good when she is around. And as a boy of 17, I would need many more situations where I could give Ione hints about how I feel. I could never say it in a way that was natural for me. Even now, when I tell her, I would love to conceal the fact that I am not 17. No one would believe me. And in this fragile moment, I couldn't tell the whole truth. It was so sad, so disgusting, that I had to act even now, when I wanted to tell her everything. Tea or juice? It was Ione from the kitchen. She was asking me what I'd like to drink. Tea or juice? Then I realized. Tea or juice? She asked me whether I wanted tea or juice. I couldn't believe it. Was it really true? Was she asking me about this? Was she asking me to make that kind of choice? I noticed it when I stepped into the apartment, when she went to get the movie. Her look was so soft. It was as if she wouldn't be resisting at all. She didn't talk back when I told her I forgot the movie, and she wasn't mean to me when I asked her for something to drink. She was kind, helpful, so wonderfully herself. Could that really mean tea? Tea, of course I wanted tea. When I asked for tea, then that meant she would have to make the tea, cook the water, and so on. This would take a while, so didn't mean Ione. She invited me? And me. What was I supposed to do? I couldn't make the polite decision of asking for juice. I had to ask for tea. Because she asked me. So that meant she would make some tea for me, and I wouldn't feel I'm hurting her if I would refuse her. So should I go to the kitchen now? Is it a good thing, or should I wait until she calls me? But then, what if she already has some tea prepared, and will just give me a glass? What then? I'll appear in the kitchen and I will look like stupid. It will be horrible. I'll put her in a bad situation. Again. And I have done this to her so many times before. Was this ever going to stop? But I just had to do it. There was no other way. I took the chance of making a fool of myself and went to where she was. I I'm sorry, Yone. It was all because of her. All because I loved her. I took off my shoes and came to the kitchen. I didn't have any backup phrase prepared, but how could I? I didn't have the time to think this through. And I lacked the energy. I just wanted to be with Yone. Besides, my bus was already gone, so I would have to pay for the night line. Yone briefly looked at me as she was making the water for the tea. All my doubts gone. I saw Yone. I saw her soft look. It was as if she'd know, as if she would be completely defenseless, as if she give up. And me, what was I doing? What was I about to tell her? Could this ever be the right thing? I sat down and looked at the leftover snacks. I knew I had to start a conversation. Yone was so silent, so unusually quiet. It was scaring me. This whole situation. I knew it. And she knew it, that it can't end well. I will hurt her. She will hurt me. I knew it. It was so silent. I could hear every move Yone made. But I had to force a conversation. There was no other way. I was only able to start one very stupid topic. That the combination of sweet and salty snacks wasn't good for the stomach. I was thinking of using that as an explanation and additionally tell her that was the reason why I asked for some tea. But the situation was so obvious, at least to me, that I didn't dare. I would probably look like I want a back door at any cost. And I didn't want that. I didn't care anymore. So I started a conversation and Yone joined in. We talked about the usual things, but there was something different to that conversation. No jokes, just the terrible, oppressive atmosphere in the room. Conversations which have been so fluent and childishly easy to conduct, which Yone were so hard to do now. After every sentence I had to think what to say next, so that we don't stop, or that we don't touch something I didn't want to. It was as if we wouldn't want to speak. Was this it? Did that mean we thought about the same thing? Yone made the tea, but instantly the heavy atmosphere came back. It led to nowhere. We didn't have moved a millimeter. Nothing has changed. And the less tea I had in my cup, the worse it got. The feeling that nothing was happening. I was helpless. My bus, it had to be gone already. There was no way I could have caught it anymore. And Yone, I just realized, she didn't mention it. Of course, she doesn't have to know when the last night bus leaves. But she never even asked whether I was checking the time. She didn't say a word about this. She did it. Did it mean... or maybe not? I had no idea what to make of the situation. I had no idea why Yone is like that. If it is because of me. I didn't know how to continue in that situation, how to end it, how to tell her. For I could clearly see Yone was not her usual self. But she was so dead silent. I could clearly say what it was. And me, I was also silent. And so I told her that my late boss had already left. She probably wanted to ask me whether I needed to make a phone call, but I was quick to say I was going to sleep over at a friend's place and that my parents knew. An obvious lie. She must have known it, and I wasn't hiding it. Then I stood up and took the empty teacup to put it into the sink. It was a sudden move, I guess, and Yone almost jumped. She made some sort of a sudden move, scared, chaotic. At that time I was turned with my back on her because I had to put the cup in the sink. But I felt it. She stood there, stunned. Did she do that because of me? I heard her breathe, and I just felt her shaking. A terrible weakness overcame me, and I wasn't able to do anything. Just stand. I looked around and saw her. Everything came back to me. I felt that I was not going to be able to hold back anymore. I loved her. I loved Yone. The woman that stood in front of me, and I just couldn't tell her that because of my weak nature. Because I felt insecure, afraid, and because of 1,000 more reasons. That just proved I was never going to be able to be with her the way I would want. I was there. It was midnight. I was there in her apartment, and she was not telling me, or in any other way, hinting that I should leave. Could that really mean she wanted me to stay? I was looking at her, and it was way past the point of a normal look. She was not my teacher. She was Yone. And I had to tell her. I had to tell her now. But still, even at that moment, I hesitated. I was not able to tell her. And in this incapability of mine, I turned back toward the sink. Just a few words. They were just words. Yet I couldn't speak them out. Why was this? Why was I not able to do it? Was this the true me? The me that has never changed? I always thought how great I would be in a situation like the one Redux brought me into. How I would not be afraid, how I would take chances. Nothing that was true. What more could I ever want? What kind of proof would be good enough for me? Was I a complete coward? I was. I was because I was afraid to lose her. My life would end the second she did not accept me. I resigned completely and felt my eyes started to hurt because of the tears that were about to form. I recalled my thoughts about Yone and just why it would never work out. Those were not pessimistic reasonings of how there is no love. Those were reasonings of why love, even the purest, cannot substitute everything else in the life of a person. And for the first time, I felt this crushing truth win. It was over in this second. I gave up. I put the teacup in the sink, which made a distinctive sound. One can hardly believe how dead silent it was, because the sound the teacup made was razor sharp to my ears. You don't have to wash. I heard Jon's voice burst out. I turned around and just wanted to say that. And I hit something. It was Yone. In some sort of strange reflex panic, she wanted to stop me from washing the teacup, and rushed to the sink the second she heard the sound. I stood there, frozen. Everything stopped. There was nothing else. I was touching Yone's body with mine because we are that close. Me wanting to turn around and she wanting to get to the sink. My mouth was so close to her right shoulder. I felt it. I was kissing it. Yone was also completely paralyzed, and our hands were in a strange pose, because we didn't want to touch with our arms. I wanted to somehow jump away, to apologize, but I couldn't move. As if I had turned to stone. Yone didn't move yet I could clearly feel she also would do the same if she could. And I felt her near me. I felt her exhale and I felt her shaking. My hands were cold as ice. This was it. I just felt the Yone near me and realized it. From Yone's body, from the eyes, I dared to look into at last. There were no words that could describe it. But Yone and me, I realized she had done this. She's here. Now. In this situation. I came here. And this was the moment. Yone's eyes, her mouth and scent. Everything unmistakably told me of the confusion, fear and decision. Time did not exist anymore. I tried hard to stay on my feet because I was so weak. It felt like 1,000,000 thoughts rushed through my mind now, but I couldn't hold on to any one of them. I just realized I felt her heartbeat through my skin. The warmth of Yone's body was my only contact with the time. Time did not stop. It was here. We were here. And now I could finally feel that that was true. We were here. Not me and Yone. We. But I felt no relief. No tension was gone. No liberating feeling. Because this was not the triumph of love. It was a choice. That night, Yone gave me a ride home. It was so stupid, but I forgot Mori's movie at her place. Again! But that was the way it was. Soon we started to phone each other, then secretly meet, and then eventually the first people found out. What? My parents almost killed me. I couldn't explain why I loved a woman twice my age, and their opinions about Yone were so horrible, I wished I was an orphan. All the reasons I thought about as to why it could never work out, all these were back and present. Yone had to deal with this even more intensively. She also had her friends, And family mates make that kind of pressure on her. I would have understood if she'd give up. No person was really able to withstand all the things they have done to her, all the things that they accused her of, and the pain from all the words they hurt her with. But Yone never once said she regretted it. Never once has she blamed me for all we had to go through. I remember using all my weak boy's power to carry her adult body to bed many times, crying Yone over all the injustice that they have done to her because of me, and watching her fall asleep on a pillow wet from her tears. In that time, I lost almost everyone from my class, save for Yoshiko and Yan's sister Hidemi. They did not help us, but at least they talked to me when I met them. But gradually, Yone recovered from all this, and then finally, I saw happiness in her eyes. We moved on, organized our life, and with time, got acceptance. It was so wonderful to see her like that, and many times I just needed to look at her, realizing what I had in her, how I loved her, and tears would come to my eyes. She would sometimes just run up to me and hug me for no reason. We were making jokes now, and whenever there was a problem, we were solving it together. And ever since that time when she accepted this, she even looked younger. I could never stop to look at her feverish face, radiating happiness, almost every time we realized how much we needed each other's love and support. And when we made love, she didn't feel guilty anymore. It was that time when I truly felt I was loved. For the first time in my life, with love so strong, it would last a lifetime. The end. Wow. So there were 13 chapters. Oh no, there were more. 23. Holy crap. 40 chapters. Well, that means that also will be not a short series. So, anyone want a Redux? Oh man, that is so surprising. Yeah, the ending was very surprising. I mean, I expected him to actually end up with his friend's sister, but well, it didn't happen. And he actually made it with Yone, the teacher. Oh man, that's just crazy. But I guess that's what makes it a great story. Right? I think I'm right. Alright, hope you enjoyed Gakuen Redux. And, well, see you in the next series. Because, unfortunately, that's the end of the story. Bye!